Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. The Flower Adornment Sutra, Chapter 2, The Manifestations of the Thus Come One. Then, in the northwest, each bodhisattva created a lion's throne from the infinite light of abundant, awesome virtue, and seated himself upon that throne in full lotus posture. Below this sea of worlds of the flower treasury, there was another sea of worlds called lotus fragrance treasury of wonderful virtues. Within the seat of those worlds, there was a land called dazzling light of a jeweled lion. The Buddha there was named Light of the Dharma realm. Within the great sea-like assembly of that thus come one was a bodhisattva mahasattva named Flaming Wisdom of the light of the Dharma realm. He and as many bodhisattvas as there are dust motes in the sea of worlds all came to where the Buddha was. Each bodhisattva displayed 10 brilliant clouds, produced a profusion of mani, which filled all of space and did not disperse. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds, full of all kinds of incense. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds of effulgence of all jewels. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds that issued sounds of all Buddhas speaking the Dharma. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds, manifesting the adornments of all Buddha lands. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds, produced from towers of splendid blossoms. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds, showing the Buddha's teaching beings throughout all aeons. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds, containing infinitely many jeweled flower buds. They further displayed 10 brilliant clouds of lavishly ornamented thrones. Brilliant clouds such as those, as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds, completely filled the air and did not disperse. Having displayed those clouds, the bodhisattvas bowed to the Buddha and offered them to him. Then in the lower direction, each bodhisattva created a lion's throne from blazing jeweled lamps and abundant lotuses, and seated himself upon that throne in full lotus posture. Above this sea of worlds of the flower treasury, there was another sea of worlds called, adorned with dazzling money jewels. Within the seat of those worlds, there was a land called wondrous radiance beyond appearances. The Buddha there was named Radiant King of unobstructed merit and virtue. Within the great sea-like assembly of that thus come one was a bodhisattva mahasattva named Unimpeded Strength of Vigorous Wisdom. He and as many bodhisattvas as dust motes in a sea of worlds all came to where the Buddha was. Each bodhisattva displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from jewels of boundless colors and forms, which filled all of space and did not disperse. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from a net of money jewels. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from adornments of all the magnificent Buddha lands. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from all sublime fragrances. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from all adornments. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from the transformations of all Buddhas. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from the flowers of myriad beautiful trees. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from all kinds of vajra. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from money jewels that expounded boundless bodhisattva practices. They further displayed 10 effulgent clouds made from lamps of pearl. Effulgent clouds such as those, as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds, completely filled the air and did not disperse. Having displayed those clouds, the bodhisattvas bowed to the Buddha and offered them to him. Then in the upper direction, Each bodhisattva created a lion's throne from a profusion of lotuses which issued the sounds and light of the Buddhas, and seated himself upon that throne in full lotus posture. In this way, in seas of worlds as numerous as the dust motes in 1,000,000,000 Buddha lands, there were bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, as numerous as the dust motes in 1,000,000,000 Buddha lands, each surrounded by a gathering of bodhisattvas, as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. Each of those bodhisattvas displayed clouds of offerings of all kinds of adornments, as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds, which completely filled the air and did not disperse. Having displayed those clouds, they bowed to the Buddha and offered them to him. Then, in the direction from which he had come, each bodhisattva created a lion's throne adorned with all kinds of jewels, and seated himself upon that throne in full lotus posture. Having seated themselves, all of the bodhisattvas from each and every pore on their bodies displayed lights of various colors from all jewels, as numerous as the dust motes in the 10 seas of worlds. Within each light appeared bodhisattvas, as numerous as the dust motes in 10 seas of worlds, all seated upon lion thrones made from a profusion of lotuses. All of those bodhisattvas were able to pervasively enter into all the dust motes in the oceans of arrangements of Dharma realms. Each dust mote contained vast lands as numerous as the dust motes in 10 Buddha worlds. In each land they dwelt the Buddhas, world on it one, of the 3 periods of time. Those bodhisattvas were all able to draw near to these Buddhas and make offerings to them in every thought by using the method of manifesting freely in dreams, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of manifesting the death and birth of all gods, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of expounding the practices of bodhisattvas, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of universally quaking all lands in order to praise the meritorious virtues and spiritual transformations of the Buddhas, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of adorning and purifying all Buddha lands, displaying the sea of all great vows, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of universally gathering the words spoken by beings and the sounds made by all Buddhas, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of raining down clouds of all Buddha Dharmas, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in a sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of shining light everywhere across the lands of the 10 directions, pervading the Dharma realm, and displaying spiritual transformations, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. In every thought by using the method of manifesting bodies of Buddhas everywhere throughout the Dharma realm, using the thus come one's power of liberation, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. In every thought by using universal worthy bodhisattva's method of establishing the oceans of all assemblies and bodhimandas, the enlightened beings as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. Practicing thus throughout all Dharma realms, they accorded with the minds of all beings and led them all to enlightenment. In every thought and in every land, they each enabled beings as numerous as the dust motes in a Mount Sumeru who had fallen into evil paths to forever leave their sufferings. They each enabled beings as numerous as the dust motes in a Mount Sumeru who were abiding in improper samadhis to enter proper samadhis. They each enabled beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to be born in the heavens according to their wishes. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to dwell in the positions of hearers and Pachika Buddhas. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to serve good teachers and to amass blessings. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to make the resolve for supreme bodhi. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to advance toward the Bodhisattva's position of non-retreat. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to attain the eye of pure knowledge and to perceive the equality of all dharmas as perceived by the dust come one. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to abide in the ocean of all powers and vows, and with expedients of infinite wisdom to purify all Buddha lands. They each led beings as numerous as the dust motes in the Mount Sumeru to reside in the Varochana's ocean of vast vows and to be born in the family of the dust come one. Then all the Bodhisattvas from amidst the light simultaneously spoke the following verse. From amidst the lights came wondrous sounds, reaching all lands throughout the 10 directions. These sounds proclaim all merit and virtue, so the Buddha's disciples could enter the wondrous Bodhi path. Cultivating for oceans of aeons without fatigue, they led suffering beings to liberation. With minds neither inferior nor wearied, the Buddha's disciples skillfully entered such expedients. They cultivated expedients for oceans of aeons, measureless and boundless, never slacking off. There was no Dharma door they failed to enter. Constantly they expounded the nature of acquiescence. All the vows of Buddhists of the 3 periods of time they cultivated and practiced to perfection, thereby benefiting all beings and creating pure karma for themselves. They traveled throughout the 10 directions, attending the assemblies of all Buddhas. With deeply profound, ocean-like wisdom, they entered the dust come one's dharma of quiescence. With no bounds whatsoever, each and every light enters inconceivable numbers of lands. The eye of pure knowledge perceives it all. This is the realm of the Bodhisattva's practice. The Bodhisattva can dwell on the tip of a hair and make the lands of the 10 directions quake. Without frightening any of the beings there, they have the level of pure experience. With limitless bodies in every mote of dust, they display countless exquisite lands. They can die and take birth in a single thought, seen by all. They have realized unimpeded wisdom and adornments. In a single instant, they manifest all eons of the 3 periods of time to help all beings realize how ephemeral the body is, as proven by the non-obstruction of the Dharma nature. All may enter Universal Worthy's excellent practices, which cause all beings to delight in beholding him. Disciples of the Buddha can dwell in this Dharma door. A great roar issues forth from the lights. At that time, wishing to enable all the Bodhisattvas and others in assembly to attain the dust come one's boundless realm and power of spiritual powers, the world-honored one emitted light from between his brows. This light was called Light of all Bodhisattvas' wisdom, universally illuminating the treasury of the 10 directions. In the form of a cloud of jewel-hued land, it shone upon all Buddha lands throughout the 10 directions. The light revealed all the lands and beings within its illumination and caused the network of all worlds to quake. It further manifested countless Buddhas in every mode of dust. In accordance with the differing natures and desires of beings, the light showered everywhere clouds of wheels of wondrous Dharma, spoken by all Buddhas of the three periods of time, and displayed the thus come once ocean of paramitas. Then it rained down limitless, transcendent clouds that eternally liberated beings from birth and death. It further rained down clouds of the great vows of all Buddhas, which revealed the assemblies in universal worthy bodhisattvas, bodhimandas, in the worlds of the 10 directions. Having done these deeds, the light circled to the right around the Buddha and went in under his feet. Suddenly, an immense lotus appeared before the Buddha, surpassing all other lotuses. The flower had 10 kinds of adornments. That is to say, it had a stem of assorted jewels, a seed pod of splendid money gems, petals made of all the jewels of the Dharma realm, pistils of fragrant money, and a base ornamented with Jambunada gold. Beautiful nets shaded it from above, and its hues were luminous and pure. In the space of a thought, it manifested the boundless spiritual transformations of all Buddhas. It could produce every type of sound. Its splendid money gems reflected the Buddha's body. Its sounds proclaimed the practices and vows cultivated by all bodhisattvas. Instantly, when this flower had sprung up, there appeared in the thus come once white hair mark curl a bodhisattva mahasattva, named Sublime Sound of all Dharmas, along with a multitude of bodhisattvas, as numerous as the dust motes in the sea of worlds. They all came forth and circled to the right around the thus come one an infinite number of times, then bowed at the Buddha's feet. The bodhisattva's sublime sound seated himself upon the base of the lotus, and the multitude of bodhisattvas seated themselves on the lotus pistils, arranging themselves in order. The bodhisattva's sublime sound of all dharmas, having understood the profound Dharma realm, felt tremendous joy. He entered the practice of the Buddhas. Nothing could impede his wisdom. He entered the unfathomable sea of the Buddha's Dharma body and visited the thus come ones in all lands. Every pore of his body displayed spiritual powers. In every thought he contemplated all Dharma realms. The Buddhas in the 10 directions bestowed their powers upon him, enabling him to abide in all samadhis. To the ends of time, he can always see the Buddha's boundless Dharma realm body with its ocean of merit and virtue, as well as all their samadhis, liberations, spiritual powers, and transformations. In the assembly's midst, he received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, contemplated the 10 directions, and spoke verses. The Buddha's body fills the Dharma realm. Universally, it appears before all beings. Responding to conditions, it reaches everywhere, yet constantly remains at this Bodhi seat. In each of the thus come one's paws sit Buddhas as numerous as the dust motes in all lands, surrounded by assemblies of bodhisattvas. They proclaim the excellent practices of universal worthy. As the thus come one sits on the seat of enlightenment, in a single paw appear numerous seas of lands. So too is it in each and every paw, extending throughout the entire Dhamma realm. In every land, the Buddha sits serenely. His presence pervades each and every country. Bodhisattvas from the 10 directions gather like clouds. None fail to come to the Bodhimanda. Numerous as the dust motes in all lands, the oceans of bodhisattvas with their merit and radiance universally appear in the assemblies of the thus come ones, filling up the entire Dhamma realm. In the lands as numerous as the Dharma realm's dust motes, he appears in every assembly. Such division bodies are enabled by states of wisdom. achieved through the practices of universal worthy. In the assemblies of all Buddhas, the Bodhisattva's sublime knowledge sits upright. Each one listens to the Dharma with happiness. They cultivate for immeasurable aeons in every place. Having entered the vast vows of universal worthy, each one gives rise to all Buddha Dharmas. In the Vairocana's Dharma ocean, they cultivate and certify to the thus come one's position. Those enlightened by universal worthy Bodhisattva receive the joyful praise of all thus come ones, gaining the Buddha's great spiritual powers. They roam everywhere throughout the Dharma realm. All lands numerous as dust motes are filled with constantly appearing clouds of bodies, shining brilliant rays for the sake of all beings. Every cloud sprinkles the Dharma rain, fulfilling their wishes. Then in the assembly's midst, another Bodhisattva Mahasattva, named King of Lotus-like Wisdom, contemplating all excellent dharmas, received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, contemplated the 10 directions, and spoke a verse. The thus come one's profound wisdom pervasively enters the Dharma realm, turning the wheel in the 3 periods of time. He serves as a bright guide for the world. All Buddhas, sharing a common Dhamma body, are independent yet undifferentiated according with the mentalities of beings. They lead them to see the Buddha's forms. Possessed of all wisdom, Buddhas universally understand all dharmas. Throughout all lands, there is nowhere they fail to manifest. A Buddha's body and its radiant aura are inconceivable in color and form. Beings with faith and joy are able to see as they should. The body of one Buddha can transform into limitless Buddhas. His thundering voice fills all lands, proclaiming Dharma as deep as the sea. Light shines forth from each and every pore, forming a radiant net across the 10 directions. It broadcasts the Buddha's wonderful sounds, taming those who are difficult to tame. The thus come one's radiance pours forth constant sounds of deep wonder, extolling the Buddhist oceans of merit and virtue, and the practices of bodhisattvas. The Buddha turns the wheel of proper Dharma, which surpasses all measures and bounds. Without equal, the Dharma that he speaks cannot be fathomed by those of shallow wisdom. In each and every world, a Buddha appears and realizes proper enlightenment. Each performs spiritual transformations, completely filling the Dharma realm. Each body of the thus come one manifests further Buddhas equal to the number of beings. In lands as numerous as dust motes, Buddhas universally display their spiritual powers. Then in the assembly's midst, another Bodhisattva Mahasattva, named Luminous Wisdom of Rejoicing in Dharma, received the Buddha's awesome spiritual power, contemplated the 10 directions, and spoke a verse. The Buddha's body frequently appears, filling the entire Dhamma realm. With a great voice he constantly proclaims, causing the lands of the 10 directions to tremble. The thus come one manifests everywhere, making his presence felt in all worlds. In accordance with beings' joys and desires, he displays the strength of spiritual powers. Based upon the thoughts of beings, the Buddha appears before them all. Beings see what they see by virtue of the Buddha's spiritual power. Boundless is his light, measureless the Dharma he speaks. Following his wisdom, disciples of the Buddha may enter and contemplate. The Buddha's body is beyond birth, yet he manifests being born. Akin to space, the Dharma nature is where all Buddhas dwell. Neither staying nor departing, the Buddha is seen in all places. His illumination reaches everywhere, and his name is heard afar. Lacking substance and location, not coming into being, devoid of shape or form, all manifestations are but shadows. The Buddha in accordance with beings' minds, creates great Dharma clouds for them. With sundry expedient methods, he instructs, enlightens, and tames them. In the midst of every world, a Buddha is seen sitting in a Bodhimanda. Surrounded by a great assembly, he illumines the lands of the 10 directions. The bodies of all Buddhas possess infinite hallmarks. Limitless are their manifestations, yet their own physical form never perishes.